Hi guys, chapter 5 and 6, you ready? Chapter 5, plant a tree. When we got to our classroom, Mrs. Wishy asked, how many of you walked or rode your bike to school today? A bunch of hands shot up and there was a chorus of, I did, I did, I did. Excuse me, wow, that's great, said Mrs. Wishy. Good for you. I thought it was really fun, said Jessie. Me too, I said. Robbie, Freddie, and I had a race to school, said Jessie. Ha ha, that's funny, said Max. I bet they beat the pants off of you. Actually, Jessie beat us both, said Robbie. No way. A girl can't run faster than a boy. Says who, said Jessie. Says me, said Max. Well, you're wrong, said Jessie. Girls can run just as fast as boys. That's right, said Mrs. Wishy. Girls can be very fast runners. Jessie's probably the fastest kid in the whole first grade, I said. Jessie smiled. Where's Chloe? Asked Mrs. Wishy. I'm over here, Chloe called from the cubbies. What are you doing? Mrs. Wishy asked. Changing my shoes. Did she say changing my shoes? Jessie whispered. I nodded. Yep, you heard her right. I had to wear my sneakers to walk to school today, but they don't match my outfit, said Chloe. I'm taking them off and putting on these pink party shoes instead. Aren't they beautiful? And they match perfectly with my dress. She's so weird, Jessie whispered. Well, you might want to leave your sneakers on, Chloe, because right now we're going to go outside and plant a few trees, said Mrs. Wishy. Really? I said excitedly. Really, said Mrs. Wishy. That's so cool, said Max. But my dress is going to get all dirty, said Chloe. Excuse me. Then maybe you shouldn't wear your foofy dresses to school, said Max. But my Nana brought this one back from Paris, France. I'm sure if you get a little dirt on it, your mother can wash it, said Mrs. Wishy. Chloe frowned. I don't like dirt. Uh-oh, where'd you go? Sorry. Technical difficulties. Okay, there we go. Here she is. Our party dress. I don't know if Finn is in these or not. Okay. I love it, said Max. And I love all the things that live in the dirt, like worms and bugs. Ew, 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 said Chloe. Enough, you two, said Mrs. Wishy. Let's all line up to go outside and plant some trees. We got in a line and followed Mrs. Wishy out to the playground. One of our local stores donated these baby trees to our school. I thought we could use more shade on our playground, said Mrs. Wishy. Good idea, I said. It can get really hot out here. When these baby trees get a little bigger, we can sit under them and cool off, said Jessie. Besides giving us shade, does anyone know any other reasons why trees are important? Asked Mrs. Wishy. They make oxygen that we need to breathe, said Robbie. If we didn't have oxygen to breathe, then we would die. Really? Said Max. Really? Said Mrs. Wishy. Wow, I never knew that, said Max. These trees will also help us in other ways, said Mrs. Wishy. You know the fields get very muddy when there's a lot of rain? We nodded. That's because all the soil around the grass gets washed onto the field. Then the roots of the trees will help hold the soil in place, and it won't all wash onto the grass. That's interesting. You won't have to run around in muddy pools of water. I always thought that trees are pretty to look at, said Jessie. I didn't realize how important they were. And 900 million trees are cut down every year, said Mrs. Wishy. Why? I asked. To make paper products. I shook my head. That's crazy. Jessie shook her head too. I just can't believe that. If you use less paper, then fewer trees have to be cut down, said Mrs. Wishy. It's that simple. Now, is everybody ready to get started? Yes, we all said. Well, everybody but Chloe. Mrs. Wishy put us in groups of 5 and gave us each a big shovel and one of the baby trees. You need to dig a hole deep enough so that we can set the tree down in the ground. Then, once the tree is in the ground, you cover the roots up with dirt. Got it? Got it, we all said. We spread out around the track and got to work. Digging the hole was hard, but really fun. There they are. There's the little trees. Hey, look what I found, said Robbie, sticking his hand in the dirt and pulling out a bug. A roly-poly. It's so cute, said Jessie. Can I hold it? Sure, said Robbie. Cute? How can you say that disgusting thing is cute, said Chloe. I wouldn't touch it if you paid me $1 million. You don't know what you're missing, said Jessie with a big smile on her face. Hey, Chloe, said Max, come over here. I've got a surprise for you. You see my puppies in the back? They're going outside. Probably to celebrate Earth Day with the other dogs. Chloe ran over. I just love surprises. Max pulled a big fat worm out of his pocket and dangled it in Chloe's face. Look at him dangling it. And she's like, no. Chloe screamed, ah! And she ran over to Mrs. Wishy. Mrs. Wishy, Mrs. Wishy, Max stuck a worm in my face. I think you'll be all right, said Mrs. Wishy. It's just a little worm. Worms are important for the environment, you know. You guys know what worms do? I think you do from the garden, huh? From Mr. Marty. Well, I don't like them, said Chloe. They're slimy and gross. Okay, everybody, it's time to go inside. Bring your shovels over to me and line up, called Mrs. Wishy. Boy, oh boy, the morning went quickly, said Robbie. Time flies when you're having fun, said Mrs. Wishy. It's already time for lunch. Woohoo, I yelled, pumping my fists in the air. I'm starving. I'm going to ask you for a special favor while you're at lunch today, said Mrs. Wishy. Please save all of your trash and bring it back to the classroom with you. I want to talk about it. Oh boy, can you imagine saving your trash? Bringing it back to the classroom? Chapter 6, Worms and Trash. What is she going to say? When the bell rang for the end of lunch, Chloe was about to throw out all of her trash. Wait, said Jessie, pulling her back from the trash can. Remember, Mrs. Wishy said we're supposed to bring all of our trash back to the classroom. But it's sticky and gross, and it's going to make my lunchbox all stinky, said Chloe, wrinkling up her nose. You are such a princess, said Jessie, shaking her head. Give me your trash, I'll carry it for you. When we got back to the classroom, Mrs. Wishy had put some newspaper down on the floor. Please put your lunch trash on these papers, she said. We all pulled out our trash and piled it up on the floor. Wow, that's a lot of trash, said Jessie. You can say that again, I said. Think about what you throw away every day at lunch, said Mrs. Wishy. My sandwich bag, said Jessie. The wrapper from my granola bar, I said. My napkin, said Max. I didn't even know he used a napkin, I said to Jessie. Jessie giggled. The bag for my chips, said Robbie. Now think about how much trash every school collects in one day, said Mrs. Wishy. All of that goes into the landfills. What's a landfill? Said Chloe. It's a big hole in the ground where we throw all the trash that the garbage people collect, said Mrs. Wishy. Did you know that? That's where the trash goes, a lot of it, to a big hole in the ground. There are a lot of landfills, said Robbie. Yes, there are, said Mrs. Wishy. If we aren't careful, soon our planet will be covered in trash. And this trash pollutes the air and the water. Here he is. Freddie's imagining he's at the top of the landfill. Look at all that trash. We have those. We have some in Temecula. That's disgusting, said Chloe. But what can we do, said Jessie. All of this trash does not have to go into the landfill, said Mrs. Wishy. What do you mean? Asked Max. Well, some of this stuff can be recycled, said Robbie. Now you're on the right track, said Mrs. Wishy. If you have anything that can be recycled, then put it over here on this paper. I have a water bottle, Max said. I leaned over to Robbie and whispered, I brought a reusable water bottle today. That was number 4 on the challenge list. Me too, Robbie whispered back. I have the plastic container for my applesauce, said Jessie. Max poked Chloe. Hey, ding-dong, you have something that goes in the recycling pile? Keep your dirty hands off of me, said Chloe. None of my trash can be recycled. Yes, it can, said Max. Oh, yeah? What, Max? Said Chloe, glaring at Max. Your yogurt container? No, it can't. Yes, it can. No, it can't. Yes, it can, said Max. Enough, you two, said Mrs. Wishy. Yes, Chloe, your yogurt container can be recycled. Well, my mom never recycles them at home. Now you know that it can be recycled, said Mrs. Wishy. You can tell your mom. Jessie picked up the container and put it in the recycling pile. Thank you, Jessie, said Mrs. Whooshie. Jessie smiled. No problem. This is fun. Now, is there anything else we can do with our trash? Asked Mrs. Whooshie. We all stared at Mrs. Whooshie and shook our heads. Well, all of us except for Robbie, the science genius. We could compost some of this stuff, said Robbie. Hey, Brain, said Max. What's compost? Do you guys know what that is? If your mom gardens, you might know. You'd like it, said Robbie, because composting uses worms. Cool, said Max. Ew, said Chloe. I hate worms. But they help make the soil really good for planting, said Robbie. That's right, said Mrs. Whooshie. If you have a compost bin, then you can throw some of your food trash in there, like this leftover sandwich crust or this banana peel. But isn't that just like throwing it away, I said. Not exactly, said Mrs. Whooshie. If you throw the food scraps in the compost, then the worms break down the food and use it to make really rich soil that's good for your garden. Cool, said Max. I wish I could see. Oh, there's Bailey. See Bailey? There she goes, outside. Oh, she heard me call her. Oh, okay, if you want to make a small compost bin for your classroom, I can show you how to do that tomorrow, said Mrs. Whooshie. Yes, 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 we all said. Here's the compost bin that they can see. See all the trash and the soil at the bottom. Super cool, huh? There's a banana peel at top. You see that? See the holes up at the top. What do you think that's for? What do you think the holes up at the top are for? They're really very easy to make. I'll bring the bin. The bottom has to be lined with newspaper. So if you could all bring in some newspaper to make worm bedding, that would be great. I have lots of newspaper in my recycle bin at home, I said. Me too, said Robbie. Besides, said Mrs. Whooshie, recycling is #1 on Earth Day challenge list. If you bring a newspaper, then you're one step closer to becoming a member of the green team. Remember, the challenge ends tomorrow. The challenge! I was having so much fun today, I almost forgot about the challenge. Time was running out, and I still had 4 more things to do. Oh, no. All right, that was chapter 5 and 6. Tomorrow's chapter 7, reduce, reuse, recycle. I think a lot of us do a lot of that, don't we? Yeah? All right, friends, I'll see you tomorrow. Adios.